yes.
Well,
Thanks y'all for being here.
So good to be here.
who else out there loves the fabulous, the wonderful, the unfucking stoppable, the amazing, the powerful, the fucking loving Jessie Johnson?
Yes.
If you're out there and you're feeling her and you appreciate her, send us some love right now. Drop a comment in. Tell us where you're listening in from. Maybe drop a little word of like just love for this beautiful being right here, for all these beautiful beings. Look at this. Look at this like skin tone.
Lori.
Yeah. A gradient
Ensemble of awesome.
getting more brown as it goes around.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, every time I come back to myself, I'm like, oh my, I'm so pink compared to the
Pink, I love
extra.
Yeah.
pink is the color right now, actually. You're like on trend right now.
Mm.
Oh,
I think that I've only really like cried in a video when we like pre-recorded it. This is a new edge for me. Crying live.
Nice. Which is perfect. Which is perfect, right? For our pre-circle up for Fuck Faking It, which is happening tomorrow. Fuck Faking It.
fuck faking it. Fuck faking it. I have so much gratitude for this realness. I was just sharing with Jessie before we went live that where she's at right now is so reflective of where so many of us are at. And I'm just so grateful for your realness and for just, giving permission with always just bringing that truth of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So much
Yeah. Yes.
gratitude.
So
Yeah,
we had a plan today
I
of what we
did.
wanted to talk about, but that can shift. And is there anything that you want to share right now with the tenderness that you're holding, Jessie, or maybe just transmitting the energy?
I mean, I think there's something about certain events that I think it's certain themes, but when you create an event around a certain theme, then sometimes you get some extra medicine. And I don't think that we always know what that is until it's here. So I like one of my teachers he was a meditation teacher of mine, would purposefully not talk about the ego in a meditation class because it would bring the ego into the room. And he was like, we got to work with that, but like to go for it head on is just like too much. He taught us that when we started learning how to teach meditation. It was like a little behind the scenes. And in my work now, like I'm like, ego, like let's go, And so here we are, fuck faking it. Like, where's your edge, Jessie fucking Johnson? Like, you gonna teach fuck faking it? You better get ready, girl. Like, where would you like to hide? Because whatever that is, we're gonna. So
I love that.
it's been interesting. We send out a media release anytime we do a event, virtual or live event. I think we now have media releases just kind of built into all our contracts, but and usually people are just like, yeah, sometimes people have questions about it, but most of the time it's no big deal. But there are some events where it comes up, and this has been one of them, where a lot of people are like, you want to do what? I'm not signing that thing. Give me a refund. Days before, 24 hours, still happening today, people asking for that. So we in the behind the scenes have been like, what's going on? Like, what is that? Okay, of course. Like we have designed an event that is structured both intention wise and content wise to find people's vulnerability and open it up in public and like crack open to show it to the world, because somewhere in there, maybe not the whole thing, but somewhere in there is the gold. Like somewhere in there is the nectar. Somewhere in there is the most important thing for us to share and shine. And in order to get in there, fuck, you gotta be willing to like feel all this? Really? In public? Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you. So, you know, as we're here together, that's my awareness. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I can tell you something happened that made me cry, but like, why today? Why now? I think it's just because like this is the teaching. And
I really love that connection because this is the teaching. And the beauty that you know in the journey of building this business, this Jesse Johnson coaching business, and bringing all on board to participate in this epic adventure, you've there's been so much growth, and part of the next level growth is this visibility thing, is this authenticity thing, and it's blown open so wide within JJC that it's I love it that it's only the next event. It makes sense. It's the next event because it's the next most alive thing. It's the next most real thing for what the company is experiencing and for what you are experiencing individually and what each of us are all experiencing. It's kind of like a mirror reflection to that, you know, and and the beauty of having light being shined on you, you know. It's like the power of our attention, the power of our awareness, the power of our consciousness, and being able to be seen and able to see. You know, the parts that have never been seen are now getting light shined on it.
yeah.
And it is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. And again, I just keep coming back to, you know, you called this in. You knew that you were capable of not just anchoring this in yourself, but being able to ground it in a way that you can transmit it to others and teach it to others. Right now, the fact that you are modeling that is just, you know, it speaks volumes about your willingness and your commitment and your mastery. And I also think that it just gives so much permission because it is terrifying for us to be seen, like pull back all the curtains, you know, look at me naked. This is who I am and how I feel. And yes, media release issues, we get it, you know, and that's that magical filter of who's willing to, I think of those retreats and workshops where people have to walk across the hot coals. And some people, they bow out at the last minute, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to walk over the hot coals. And then they say, no, I can't.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. I'm back in my hotel room, you know, and that's copping out with the media release. I get it. It's touching something really true because we know that is the holy shit portal we have to walk through to get to that next level.
I love that. Holy shit portal. That's great.
Ah, the holy shit portal.
That's great, Rihanna.
Let's save that. Let's write that down.
Because and like not to make it wrong either. If you're not ready, if you were just like, you know what, I can't do it. Like to really hold that with compassion too, and to say like, you know, if not now, like when too. Like it's such an inquiry, right? It's like when we get curious about what's happening and not put the judgment on it right away. It's like what you were saying, Jesse, that the gold is in there, and to just explore it a bit and be messy. I think that takes so much courage, and it's such a relief. It's such a relief to just be able to like be a bit messy and or even be really messy in the exploration of where you're going, you know? I mean,
I think that's one of the teachings that I'm like experiencing in this moment because of your invitation to be here. Both, it's funny, Nico, because I'm like, I got to put it on you primarily. All three of you were like super energetically supportive. Nico, you were the one that was like, we don't have to do this. And then when we did it, you were the one that was like, can we get some celebration up in here from this lady who's sobbing on Facebook Live? It's like both of those things were meeting the tenderness and like creating space that's sort of, in a good way, demands that it go bigger. And both moments, I felt the kind of like contraction, like, you know, oh God, no, I'm just gonna muscle through it. We'll do the live, it'll be fine. And like, you were like, nope, not that way. And the fear that I will die can't, like, if I'm seen this way, or if I'm caught in this level of vulnerability, like the vulnerable, I can control a certain level of vulnerability, but this is like uncontrolled vulnerability. It's not on the track. I don't know where it's going. To be seen there, caught there, feels like life threatening. And so with all of those kinds of fears, I don't think there's any way that we can really train or teach our ecosystems, our organisms, to release that fundamental fear without just doing it. And then experiencing, like, now I'm in the moment in real time where I'm like, oh, I didn't die. Oh, people are loving me right now. Okay. Like, this is going to be some people's maybe not favorite live. That's fine. But like, I'm not, nothing terrible happened. I didn't break the internet. So then my whole subconscious is like, oh.
Also, some people think breaking the internet is a great thing. You know, like, it's like that pandemic doc, right? Like, that thing came out. What's his name? Mickey Willis released that. Some people were like, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting for. A bunch of people were like, this is horrible. Broke the internet, and like the video had got taken down. Like, it's a whole drama. Like, but you know what? There's nobody that doesn't know about that video, and nobody that didn't think about it afterwards and be like, what do I believe? Maybe I don't believe any of this anymore, or maybe I do. Maybe it's even more strong for me now, right? Like, but it's like, how
I totally want to break the internet.
you want to
be the cause of the internet shutting down for a temporary amount of time.
Careful what you ask for.
I want to throw a wrench in the system.
Okay.
That the reality that you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. You're not feeling good. You don't have to do it. I think in a way it's like there's permission there, and in a way it goes against fuck faking it. And so the whole point of like not having to do it, it's like, why? Because anyone can say that. Anybody that's doing something epic in their life can be like, we don't have to do it right now, you know. And that comparison between that and the idea is like, either I do it or I don't do it, or I do it and I muscle through, you know. Like, if I do it, then I'll have to muscle through. And is that true? Like, what is that? What is this idea, like, I either not do it or I do it and I muscle through?
And also the gems, the gems that Jesse said are in there. It's like, we wouldn't find those gems if we put on the muscle through, outfit. And we were like, now I'm going to muscle through. We're going to be forcing with these blinders on. But if we show up and we're like, this is the puddle that you get, like, this is the discombobulation that you get. We also, in that process of being seen in that vulnerability and in that authenticity, we see things differently. We receive things differently, and we're going to find different gems when we're in that state versus if we show up with the, like, I'm in my head and I'm going to do things the way that, I think they should be done.
Yeah.
You're not really catching the new juice.
Yeah.
So I think there's magic in what you're saying, Shri, in, like, if it feels like, oh, I should bow out, you show up honest, raw as fuck anyway. I think we're always going to be beautifully surprised by what we find. And I thought about that because of creative writing exercises that I've done with you, there, just like in the blubbering, like I can't feel fighting, just snot and tears, and then I read it. And
Yeah,
I would never have written that,
sure.
and
Yeah.
I allowed myself to just express from the blubbering space, or from the hurt space, or from the like wildly inspired. Is anyone else gonna get this space?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a whole different technique. It's a
Huge.
whole different addition to the artistic spectrum. I saw this one coming. Yeah, Punnett Square Master. There's gonna definitely be an art book of
Yeah,
Punnett Square
totally, totally.
Yeah.
coming out of JJC very soon.
I just, you guys created this. I just wrote it down. I just, as I was listening to you, I want this to hold still. There's so much wind in this new house, Sri. It's like it's another personality on the live.
Hmm.
That like what this event is advocating for, and actually the Instagram live, not live, the little IGTV video that we posted today about the getting your eyebrows done. That's not what it's about, but that's what's happening while the video is going on. It's all about just like crossing this whole column off the list. And it's not about the form. Like what it looks like to do the thing or not do the thing will be different for different people. So for me, there was the option to do the live today, but from a place of faking it, to like muscle through and force through it and pretend that I was fine, that I was happy, that I was like, woohoo, we're good, you know, that was kind of like,
Stick to the script.
yeah, exactly. And that was my feeling, Nico, is that you were like, we're not going to do that. And I could
You're
have,
connecting faking it to muscling through.
in this
These
case,
are
for
like
me,
synonymous. Yeah.
because that's for me in this moment, just like
Yes.
that's not necessarily all the time. And Shri, what you're calling out is like to not do it because I'm like feeling like there's something wrong with where I'm at is a different kind of faking it. This is hiding. The fuck faking it is unapologetic whether I do it or I don't. This is like, so this is what we're doing. And if we'd chosen not to do it, it would have been like, yeah, we scheduled the live. And what we realized is that we needed to spend the time, just the team. And sorry for the inconvenience. Like, sorry, not sorry. That, like, I think that that's an option also.
Yeah.
And actually, as I'm thinking about it, there's another person on the team who was originally going to come to this, not going to name any names, who decided not to. And that was her fuck faking it. She was like, this is not actually going to work for me. There's a piece about this that's out of alignment, so I'm not going to do the live. And that was her authenticity. And so when she told me, it was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to back you all the way.
And I think
I love that. It makes me think what would it have been like if she came on and fucked faking it. And just was just like, this is what I really feel about this whole situation, you know?
and I
This is
think
the
that
paradigm.
the question or the invitation of like, well, you don't have to do it. I think that this is an interesting thing for me because I think it actually really helps me to make decisions when I know I have choices. If I think that the only choice is I have to do it, I feel backed into a corner. This is just me personally. And so I think when I give myself that invitation of like, well, you don't have to do it, and I connect to my body, I'm like, that doesn't feel good, you know, like, but it's like but it's more of an exploration of like, how does that feel when I say like, yeah, you don't have to be an artist, just you know, get a job, work at a desk, like do that thing, you know, you can do that, you can totally do that. And then when I feel it in my body, I'm like, oh God, no, you know, like, but I wouldn't be able to feel the contrast of that no if I didn't at least give myself that moment of like a curious exploration of like, yeah, what would it be like?
Mm.
And I think we did that at the beginning of this. We're like, well, we don't have to do it. And you're like, I'm gonna push the button. We're going live.
Mm. How do we find the balance? How do we understand like where it's coming from? Is it even necessary to know where it's coming from? Like, is it coming from, is me not doing it coming from my fear and my resistance to just being unapologetic and not faking it, or is it coming from an actual mature standpoint of I'm actually being guided and I feel called to do something different? Like, what is that?
So this is why we're doing the event, because I think there's one layer of this concept that's just the principle of the thing, right? And I think superficially everybody agrees, like, yeah, be authentic, but like when you don't have to dig too far to find people's noise about it. Like, we all have resistance to being authentic in our daily lives, moment to moment. There are places where we glitch. So this is a very human, universal principle. And still, I think when people look at that, they feel like conceptually on board. They would like to be authentic. They would like to lean in that direction. I think that's common. So the first piece is really understanding, like, where is it that they fall out? Where is it that they compromise their authenticity? Where is it that we compromise our authenticity? But I think that the second piece that's actually harder is what you're talking about, Shri, which is like, when you really start to dig into it, you can't actually be authentic if you don't know who you are. And I don't think most of us know who we are. We think we do because we have egos, and our egos are defined by knowing everything. So our egos are sort of like, by definition, walking around with this I know, that may or may not actually be related to the truth. The deep soul knowing, the connection to, like, no, this is really who I am, has got to be the guide. Otherwise, like, what are we basing our authenticity on? And so I think that is the value of so much of spiritual practice. That's not the only value, but that's one of the main ones, is to understand what it is that we are on like the soul level, to understand that we're soul, not these bodies. But then as we integrate that understanding into material form, the kind of thing that Nico just said about herself, like knowing my organism likes to have choice. I think that's also probably pretty universal, but we could pretend this is just Nico. I like to have choice. When I have choice, even if some of the choices are kind of absurd, it gives me a sense of freedom that helps me connect to my power, and then I can orient. When I'm trapped in a corner, that's not the truth of who I am. So whatever it is that I can do to get me out of that corner is worth doing, because that helps me connect to my authenticity. So I think that our next 2 days, Thursday and Friday, are designed to help people do both, to look at where they're.
Are you saying that we're going to be doing exercises and things that will cause us to be more ourselves?
Yes.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's going to be life-changing.
No one, if you walked out on the street and did like a general poll, like, what does authenticity mean? We would all get some kind of like scripted, canned little answer. The truth is, this isn't taught to us. This hasn't been like an ongoing life curriculum. And to your point, Jesse, our egos work round the clock to keep us on script in this little, routine flight path.
Yeah.
And
working hard.
I think it's so dope that the Fck Faking It retreat has a trio of master teachers, because we don't know what we don't know. And when it comes to authenticity and knowing ourselves, we need a guide. We need somebody who's like, I got you by the hand. I'm going to help you down these stairs. We're going to go into this like dark space, and we're going to see some stuff and overturn some rocks. And it's in the body, it's in the meditation, it's in the breath, it's in the writing, it's in the reflection. And it's not stuff that we wake up and we're just like, today I'm gonna do this curriculum for myself. Like, this is why it's so important to have guides and shepherds. And I also think this is why it's so important to have the right kind of support to do this work, because it is, again, terrifying. And if we don't feel safe, and if we don't feel like we've got people who know, their stuff, we're not going to go there. And I feel that with you two, and I know Tasha's going to bring that as well, that like, just beautiful invitation to explore and get to know ourselves better. Because the truth is, like, we don't know. Like, what is authenticity? I don't know. I've been faking it my whole life. So
Right?
have you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
I
that.
love that.
Makes me think about the question, how are you? You know, and the responses, different responses. Like before the fuck faking it workshop, when someone asks you how are you, you probably be like, oh, good, good, fine. After the fuck faking it workshop, how are you? Like a more definite, more like real, possibly not English response. That's
Yes.
truer than fine. That's truer than good. I love it.
I love that you pointed like so like clearly to this, Rihanna, that it's like there's a reason why we have coaches. There's a reason why we have therapists. There's a reason why we have spiritual teachers. Like you don't have to do it alone, you know? Like, and I think that
Mm.
in this American society, it's like pull up your bootstraps and figure it out, kid,
Yeah.
you know? And it's like we don't
Very
have.
independent focused
Yeah,
civilization in America,
and
particularly.
it's like doing more work and going the long way. Like a couple of years ago, I was like, I really want to, be a singer. I said it, and I said it out loud and I put it out there. And then I thought about it and I was like, I could sit here and like do YouTube videos and do all this, or I could just hire a coach and probably add like 3 years onto my training in like 6 months, and I
Uh-huh.
did, and it did. And
Hmm.
it was like easy. It was easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what we're doing here.
I love
I
it.
love so much about what you're saying, and one of the threads is like yes, value of mentorship and coaching. Of course, I'm on board with that. Um, I'm getting something deep from listening to you because of the experience that I had coming onto this team call and having you guys say kind of over and over again and just be proof that I not only wasn't alone, but that I wasn't supposed to do this alone. And the vulnerability of that, even as it felt like nectar, it was like, oh, this is actually kind of hard to let in. So of course, we don't always know how to let in the support because it requires that we be seen. You can't hire a coach if you're not willing to be seen. And if you hire a coach who doesn't see you, you're wasting your money. Like, it's so I'm weeping again because it's so tender. It's like oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. It's not rational. I don't have a story about it. It doesn't feel like it's just the feeling. The subconscious organism is like, I will shut this down. And so that I believe that is why we organize in that independent way, Shri. That we kind of we create this sort of false sense of independence because it allows us to hide. It allows us to protect ourselves. I'm not necessarily saying hide in a bad way. It's not a judgment. It's like, this is
It's bad.
It's like the
It's
bunnies, right?
bad.
Like they have to, and I just adopted a kitten, and he's the same way. He'll like play ferociously, he'll like come out, and he's like, and then he'll like snuggle with me and like be like all up on me, and then in a moment, a loud sound will happen, and he's like, "Oh my god, I gotta get the fuck out of here!" And then, like hides in the corner, and then comes out when he's ready. And like, do I judge him? No. Am I like, oh, stupid cat? Like, why don't you just like suck it up and deal with it? I'm like, no, you got your process. You know when it's right, and you come out. And he'll come out. He'll come out without fail. If there's a toy, he's like, I want that. I want that more than I'm scared of the other thing.
yes, yes.
And imagine if you did like poo-poo him for his normal kitty reactions. He'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna stay under the couch. I'm just gonna hide from you because you're not allowing me to respond to the world authentically.
That's right.
One of the things that I was wanting to share in this conversation today about like why should people do this? Why should people facilitate virtual retreats? Why should people get up and get out there and authentically tell their story or whatever the case may be. And it's because there's something in the transmission of what you were saying, Jesse, of just being seen or seeing someone that it doesn't show up in the words, it doesn't show up in the instructions, it doesn't show up in the education, it doesn't show up anywhere else except for in I'm going to allow you to see me or I'm going to see you with love. Like that's the no words, no description space. That's magic. And it's so important that we all kind of like incorporate that into whatever our business, our purpose, our gift is. Like, am I allowing people to see me? Am I seeing people, making them feel safe? Fuck yeah, kittens. So I just wanted to like say that thing specifically. It's an important part of all of our work.
Yeah. It feels like you're speaking to almost like a simplicity, like a simple action. It's something that would be seen as like super, super hard. It all boils down to the simple point of attention, either receiving it or giving it. Am
That's
I correct
exactly
there?
right. And it's something that's typically unnamed. It's not like in most curriculums, right? Like when you go to
Yeah.
a summit or a workshop, it's not like day two where I'm gonna see you and you're gonna see me.
Yeah.
Ability to do that is fucking mind
A
blowing.
whole other, yeah. You
I
could
mean,
rule the world if you're able to do that.
totally. And talk about loving service, right? Like if I mean, I just thought of Amma. Like
Yes, yes,
she's
yes.
not up there like, I'm gonna lecture for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, she's just seeing people.
She's changing the world just by being like, give me all you got.
Yeah, yeah,
All of
yeah.
it. All
I
of it.
see you. I see that too. I see
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I
There's
love that. I love
nothing. There is seriously nothing more powerful or healing than presence. Like it is the juice. It is the gold. It is like how if we could meet every single being on this planet and every moment with like pure presence, like we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in. Did you guys watch the debates last night? I was like, oh my God. I was like, these people need to do like 5 mindfulness trainings, like 10 retreats. Like they need like
Oh,
nonviolent communication
I
training.
totally want to see that. I want to go back and see it. You know, the best thing about debates is if you watch it with the sound off. It's great. Just tune into the energy. Turn off the sound, tune into the energy. It's great. It's like a whole other experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had a conversation with a client yesterday who, like so many of our conversations about money, and like she's moving through a big change, up leveling her relationship to money, her standards around money, how much money she makes. It's deeper than that. It's like a toleration around timing around money, right? So there's not really any question that she'll bring it in eventually, but it's like, no, but is she going to bring it in when she wants it? And Shri asked her, and we were with her together, and he asked her kind of out of the blue, do you vote? Yes, I vote. Who are you voting for? She told us who she was voting for. And he said, what would it be like for you to not vote? And she literally was like, what? Like, I'm kind of doing a caricature, but like she was at a loss for words. And she was basically like, I cannot imagine that. Like, what the fuck are you even asking me that for? Motherfucker. Like, I'm gonna vote. Like, it was like,
Those voters, they get really intense.
This election in particular, I think anyone who's voting probably feels that way, regardless of who they're voting for. They're like
10 times as intense.
And it comes from like a place of like, I want to protect something really important to me. Like,
well, I'm not, just resist the temptation to go in the political direction. I'm not trying to bring politics in. So this was a genius moment of Shri's coaching, because his next question was, what needs to happen for you to have that same level of clarity and urgency about money that you do around voting? And what's the difference? Like, why is it not already that way? And so this is a question that everyone here can ask, because probably like I think I read the statistic that like 11% of registered voters are currently undecided. So 90% of people who are voting know who they're voting for and can relate to this question. And probably most of those people also would like to make more money, because generally speaking, people like to make more money. So the question is, like, what would need to happen for you to care so much, for you to feel like it matters so much, that you express yourself, that you serve your people, that you make the money that you want, that you would be equally flummoxed if someone was like, well, why not just not make that money this month? Or why not just like not serve your clients this month? Like, why not just take a break? That you would be like, excuse, like, what? No, this is the most important fucking thing. I can't imagine not doing it. And if you're thinking about not doing it, you're fucking crazy. Like, not only will I go to the mat for my vision, but I'll go to the mat for yours. Because, like, again, paralleling voter activism that's happening right now. People are so passionate about getting people to vote. Like, to bring that activism into your vision, to bring that activism into your
It's so
devotion
attractive.
to your authenticity.
Yeah, it's so attractive. That the fierceness, the energy, the act of voting, it's a beautiful thing. But then even underneath it, just that fierceness and that the energetic passion and the quality
That's fuck faking it.
to master that is huge. Because then you can put it on anything you want to put it on, you know?
That's right.
For me, when I hear you guys talking about that, what kind of came up was like, oh, I think this is one of my blind spots, is when we're not really like in the full knowing of like what does it mean to be your authentic self, then we're also not in the full knowing of our value, our
Hmm.
contribution, our impact,
Yeah.
and what would happen if we weren't showing up in our fullness. And I think
Hmm.
we all, again, it's such a value to have more than one teacher to help point to all these different things to help us find like, oh snap, I got something that only I have to bring to the table. And it's like, it's authentic, but more than just a trendy word. This shit is gonna save the planet. Like my
Yeah.
authenticity is going to fucking save whatever I care about. Like my authenticity, now that I'm clear on it, now that I know how it impacts the world, now that I know how it serves others, like yeah, I'm going to fight for this shit like I would, the most crucial election ever. And then
Hmm.
we're not all in touch with that. You know,
Yeah.
we need help in somebody being like, yo, do you know that what you uniquely have is like the shit? It's the
Yeah.
medicine.
Change the world.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us don't know.
Yeah.
I love this this topic of harnessing, channeling, of directing, because this came up for me this week really strongly with my anger towards the patriarchy, which I won't get into all of that, but just to know, that this is like, there's an anger, there's an energy that's deep within. If you're a femme-bodied person, you're carrying, or you got it inside of you. It's in here, and it can flare up like at any moment. It can kind of get released. And I talked about this with my therapist, and what I uncovered was that I was so afraid of the destructive quality of this anger that's already in me, that's already destroying me, like on the inside, like subtly. I've been working on it over the years. It's not like I'm like, but it's there. It's already there. And we talked about it, and it was a little funny, like, comparison, but we talked about Harry Potter, and J.K. Rowling's on some other shit right now, but she will not tarnish Harry Potter for me. We talked about Harry Potter and how, like, when he was, that scene, if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler alert, that scene where he gets, his aunt is like pushing his buttons and pushing his buttons and just abusing him with her speech. And he just gets to a point where he's like, fuck this. And he doesn't know how to really use his power, but he's got so much power in him, and he ends up blowing her up, right? And then she like floats away into the sky, and it's like this like vindicating moment for everyone who's watching, like, yeah, like fuck that lady. Like, she sucks, Why don't pick on Harry? Like, But it's like, we talked about it, and there's this whole arc of the narrative where he has to then go to school. He goes to magic school, which is what I believe we're all in, which is what I think Fuck Faking It is. It's just like another grade in our magic school. And we have to learn how to use this immense power that's inside of us and to channel it into what we care about. And then we get to the end, right? And like even towards like, not maybe not the end, but like midway through, you know, Harry faces Voldemort, and they both like send this like killing spell at each other that's supposed to kill you instantly. But instead of killing Voldemort, what comes out is all of Harry's love and supporters, his dead mom and his father, and all the people that Voldemort have killed that are his friends, like come out, and like I'm getting chills. Like I cried when I thought about this. It was like they surround him in this like arc of protection, and they say like, we're not going to let anything fucking happen to you. And he uses that because he never met his parents, right? They were killed before he was born. So he uses that as the fuel to keep going on his mission to destroy Voldemort and to like save the world. And from then on, he can contact his mom, he can contact his father. So it's like this whole journey of him learning how to use magic, staying focused on his vision, and failing and failing and failing and failing, and then like, of course, in the end, accomplishing it, surrounded by the love and support of all the people in his life who want to see him succeed, who are benefiting from his courageousness. So this is really about being Harry Potter, y'all.
Magic school.
What I'm getting so much from both the Harry Potter example and the voting example is that, I'll say both the sort of illuminated version and the shadow version. When we know who we are, when we really are living in the knowing of who we are, there is no comparison. There's nothing more urgent. Voting is not more urgent than expressing that truth. Harry Potter's life purpose is not more urgent than ours. Like any icon, any sort of supreme examples of urgency are just a reflection of the inherent urgency of the soul to express in this life through love and service. And uniquely, like I can't do it for y'all can't do it for me. We each have our own light that needs to shine. The shadow side is people are walking around thinking that their lives don't matter enough to get uncomfortable in the way that they need to be seen and serve and shine. And that's the block that Fuck Faking It is designed to catalyze, activate, transform. And I say that including myself. Like, I think that obviously we all have an edge here. So this is not like the shadow and the illuminated are not meant to be judgments. They're just like, there's this line, and when we navigate it, what would it look like for everyone on the planet to feel that their life mattered more than anything else had ever mattered before? Not more than someone else's life matters, right? Like, not like I'm more important than someone else, but like my own urgency about living my life purpose is supreme in my life. There's nothing that matters more. How different would the world be?
Amazing. I think that there's also something, hallelujah, there's something that happens too when we come into contact with that, just like witnessing it. There's this like the permission thing, the invitation thing. Like, in the being seen, we spark something in someone else. Something becomes resonant in someone else. Like, it's kind of like when we open up and vulnerably share, in a room. We've all heard this before, that it's never just our question. It's never just our story or us in that hot seat, getting coached. You're literally channeling, speaking, healing something for everyone who's present and witnessing that. And I think that's super powerful and worth noting in all of this stuff, is that the work of authenticity and visibility, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. Like, it necessitates and requires other humans. And then it's like this beautiful, beautiful domino effect. Like, we start lighting each other up. And not only are we lighting each other up, we're like, oh, that makes me think of this. And that makes me think of this. So I'm about that, Jesse, and I say we start the dominoes this weekend at Fuck Faking It, and I know it's going to be incredible to see what this community does together coming out of it.
Can you imagine if Jesse Johnson had given up on being a 7-figure coach? Can you fucking imagine? Like,
She doesn't have to do it.
yeah, she didn't have to.
Yeah, at one point she was like, I gotta do that.
Yeah. Like if she just was like, this is too hard. Like I'm too uncomfortable making sales calls.
Yeah.
I'm too. I cold call this guy. I love this story that Josie tells of the guy that she cold called that she kind of knew, and then he was like very upset about it, you know, like, and she was like, if she had ended at that and been like, oh no, like he's upset at me, like I can't do this, like where would we be? Where would we be? Look at that. Coming to FFI, like, you know, like.
He knows who he is. He knows who he is.
Yeah. I have a question. The elephant in the room, the elephant phrase, which is fake it till you make it. I think this title is a direct counter to that. Yes, this is a direct double middle finger. I feel like I just want to hear something about that, Jesse. Why not fake it till you make it? I think isn't there a gem there? Isn't there like some nectar there, or do we do away with it completely?
I love this question. Can I come back to this? I'm gonna come back to this. So in that scenario, that phrase, fake it till you make it, is based on this. It's valuing doing the thing. And I can get on board with that. I understand that. I just don't think it's the final destination. And what I've learned is that you can skip that part and just fuck faking it and do the thing. Like I'm slightly changing the way that we're using this from what I was doing before. But if we're talking about doing it, meaning living your purpose, faking it is gonna fuck it up. I want to redo. Everything that I've said is true, but I just want to redo because it just dropped in clearer than ever before. Fake it till you make it is a strategy, and it can work if faking it can work to get to where you want to go. The people that work with me are creating businesses or expanding businesses or scaling businesses that are based on them living their life purpose. And you cannot fake that shit. So you can't do this and get there. You just can't. It won't work. This whole column has got to be eliminated in order for you to create the business that is actually what you're here to do. And then the truth is, it's less about, for the next 2 days, we're really prioritizing, like, not so much emphasizing this and figuring out what comes from there. Because if you're willing to fuck faking it, you are doing the hard work, the uncomfortable work of visibility and authenticity and knowing yourself and looking at the truth of who you are and not running away. And when you're doing that, then doing the thing, whatever the thing is, sales calls, posting on Instagram, going live, making videos, hiring a team, being seen, hiring a mentor, whatever, you are already prepared to do this. This is less hard. Fuck faking it is a strategy to make doing it easier.
Gangster.
Yes. Everything becomes easier from that place because you've done the hardest part by showing up raw. Like, you can't throw anything at anybody after they've made that choice to be seen. And the other thing about fake it till you make it is that actually doesn't serve anyone else. Like, what a huge disservice to everyone in your life and everyone around you and everyone who you leave an impression upon, because you're now giving them the wrong impression. And it's not giving anyone that permission to, like, show up in the realness. Now everyone has to show up faking it because you set that precedent of faking it. Not to mention, when you finally get to where you're going, if you get to where you're going, like, what a mind fuck. Like, you spent that whole journey getting there wearing a mask. So at some point, you're gonna have to like reconcile, like, who actually got me here? Like, did I get me here, or did this masked like faker get me here? And
Yeah.
That's right.
like, dang, hell no, I don't want to have to deal with that.
That's right.
I just saw the visual of this mask faker taking off his mask or her mask and turning around, and there's a bunch of people with masks
Oh,
that have been following the whole time. You know, like.
Yeah, it's so sad.
I gotta drop this quote in here. This is for my boyfriend Chris. He will love that I'm saying this. So like he has a grandfather who passed away a little while ago. Not blood related, but Lakota grandfather. He was very wise, and I only got to meet him once and didn't really get the full effect. But he was just very wise and funny and to the point. And one time he gathered everyone and he was speaking to everybody, and he goes, "We're all a bunch of liars." And this woman raises her hand. She's like, "Not me." And he's like, "Lie number one." And she did not like that. And it's like that's the thing, right? Is it's like we wanna pretend like we haven't been lying to ourselves our whole lives. And like to feel ashamed of it, like it was like something we made up. We didn't make that shit up. We learned it from the people around us, from our parents, and they learned it from their parents and their teachers. And it's not like to make anything wrong. It's just to realize that we're doing it and be like, make the choice. Like I don't want to do that anymore. I want to free myself.
I just want to shout out Rob, who has been watching on YouTube and just wrote, "I don't know myself because I was directed as a child to be something I am not. Now at 58, I can't let myself come out." And I just got weepy listening or reading that. At the end, he says, "You guys grow up in a different world." And I'm wanting to say, like, straight to you, Rob, to piggyback on what Nico just said, like, this is universal. You are not alone. And the challenge that you feel at 58 is real. So I don't want to minimize that. I want you to know that that is the same challenge that we all are facing.
Mm-hmm.
It is terrifying to take off the mask. It is terrifying to drop the roles. It is the reason that most people will never choose to do it. And if you are here watching, it's because you have been called. It means that the opportunity is here for you. It means that the transmission of your soul is stronger than whatever role you were taught to play. And Shri talks about this a lot. There is so much ease in being yourself. Mm-hmm. It's so sustainable. Mm-hmm. So it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable. There is no question. And you got to be willing to be rejected and have people not like you, and let them have their reaction. Let them have their feelings, and not try to manipulate them into changing their mind. Mm-hmm. But on the flip side, you have chosen ease. You have chosen the path of ease. You have chosen the path of alignment. You have chosen the path of unconditional love, because you cannot actually step into the truth of who you are without the willingness and acceptance of who that is. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, this who I am, take it or leave it. I'm taking it. I'm taking who I am. I'm not leaving it.
I'm taking that. Yeah. I want more of that.
I'm taking her taking it.
I'll have what she's having.
This is the power of association. This is the power of association. Around people that are more free and are more connected to that, you begin to take that on. That's like one of the hacks. That's one of the ways of making authenticity easy. Is be around other people that are like that more often.
Because we're social creatures, and this is how we learn. And just like all the like habits that we're like, ugh. There's a song by Madame Gandhi called "Bad Habits," and the chorus just goes, "All my bad habits have got to go." It just goes over and over. It's like, yeah, this is what we have, right? We have habits. It's habitual, and it's learned. And we could just as, I wouldn't say easily, but we can just as in the same process unlearn it. And it's like being around Jessie, being around Shri, being around Ree. and me. It's like we get this opportunity to learn from each other and be like, wow, like I really love the way you're doing that. Like that looks great. Like give me some of
Totally.
that. I'm gonna try that on and see how that.
Yes. Yeah.
So much loving permission. And to Rob's point, you know, the first step doesn't put you automatically in the ease. Like it's super, this is like the 8th time I've said the word terrifying. If anybody is wondering how I feel about visibility and authenticity, maybe I'm terrified of it. But the first step isn't ease, like, oh, all of a sudden everything in my life just flows and like it all lines up and so on and so forth. It's super terrifying and it's really hard. But one of the first benefits that I've noticed in my like little baby steps towards it is feeling more connected with the self-love, is feeling more connected with the self-acceptance. And that by comparison is fucking huge. Because when we're not allowing ourselves to be authentic, when we're not allowing ourselves to like really make space for all of who we are, we're not living with acceptance. We're living with like the self-talk of like, don't do that, don't say that, don't let them see you that way, be this person. We're living in the little self-imposed prison in the box, and it's awful. And then we start to like recognize like, oh, this is really who I am. I'm gonna give myself that. Like, oh, this is really how I feel. Like, this is the first time I'm gonna ask for it. Like, oh, this is what I want, and I'm going to like, even though my voice is shaky, ask for it. On the flip side of those very, very, you know, crunchy moments, something very, very different is there. And I feel it in my experience of just, wow, I did that for me. Like, I did that for a part of me. Like, I'm making space for this part of me that feels this way. And that is, it's everything when we've lived most of our life not doing that. So, you know, yeah, the ease, it's slowly coming. But I'll take the first few drops of self-love and acceptance. Like that's fucking worth it already.
Beautiful.
I love this quote. I heard this quote in by Audre Lorde, who says, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid."
Can you read it again?
Audre Lorde says, "When I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid."
Hear, hear.
Hear, hear. I'm so grateful for y'all. And I love that we got on here live today. This conversation was so like fruitful and nourishing for me. And I just believe that when I feel that, it's that for lots of people. So I'm really, really grateful. And part of what I'm also want to shout out is that this is what, like, y'all are my team. I didn't really introduce anybody. We didn't talk formally about that, but like this is like, everyone here is working in service to the Jesse Johnson coaching mission of supporting spiritual teachers and healers and transformational coaches in mastering money and building 7-figure businesses and the impact that comes with that. And this is what our conversations are like. Like, this is the caliber of people.
JJC Hood.
Yeah, like
JJC Hood, you will find this crew talking about these kind of things.
Hashtag goals. Like, this is the dream of team that I didn't even know how to have when I started this business. So I want to, like, from that perspective, also hold y'all up as the dream, the manifestation, the full package.
I love it.
Yes.
I'm curious. I am inspired to take action after this call. There has been something on my mind for since Sunday that I have not spoken on. And it's been just there, and I knew it and I know it, and I am going to take action on that right after this. I was scared to say the thing because, it's going to cause a fight and an argument, and like, what if it's not received, and I should wait for the exact right time? And no, fuck that. I'm
Mm,
inspired, and I encourage anyone who feels inspired to take action to like let us know. Drop a comment.
yeah, yeah,
How did this, you know, where did this poke and prod you? What inspired you? Because I'm gonna have a lovely chat with my husband after this, and I'm really looking forward to it now.
I
Yes,
love that. Taking action.
yes,
And this is the inspiration to take action on joining us
yes.
tomorrow and
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, if you're here right now, you're meant to be there tomorrow and Friday. For sure. For sure. For
Let
sure.
us love you up.
That's right. We're all going to be there. We'll all be there with you. And I just can't wait to see what everyone brings. What questions, what tenderness, what wisdom, you know, what yeah, who gets in the hot seat. I can't wait because we, you know, always get so much from it. And even being on the team, it's like, it's so cool. Like I just feel really grateful that we get to come to things like this and that we're a part of, you know, making it run, but just as much we're receiving from everyone who joins. So super excited. You can sign up. A link. There's a link in the bio, I believe, and then a link. You know, head to Jessie's Instagram. It's just at Jessie Johnson Coaching. If you're not already following her, like it's just like full of so much love and inspiration, and we pour so much into getting her content out there because it's so impactful and meaningful to us. So yeah, support, follow, join the conversation. Yeah, we can't wait.
Yes, yes.
Thank you guys so much for being with me today and always. And thank y'all who are tuning in, either live or in the replay. Drop your comments. Let us know what landed. Let us know how we can serve. We're here for you.
Thanks,
Over and
y'all.
out.
Bye bye.